exchange where we learn, think, and share. And in this episode, we have Mr. Khoo Boo Lim, the chairman of the Malaysian Association of Hotel in Penang chapter. And we would like to ask Mr. Khoo some questions and also his personal insight about the hospitality sector in this current COVID-19 pandemic. So yes, Mr. Khoo, good morning. Thank you for joining
Good morning
us.
to you.
Yes. So I want to start with asking you the first questions. Now, please update us with some figures of the hospitality sector now.
Okay, Joshua, very good morning, and thank you very much for inviting me over to share some of the information about what's going on with especially on the hospitality and tourism industry. Okay, basing on a survey that we carried out, that was the last one we did. The latest one was in April, and just to put it on record, it was only based on about 400 hotels who submitted the figures, and using that, we have came out with a percentage and basically on that. In terms of occupancy, we are only looking at nothing more than 25% for the whole Malaysia. And basically that, like I say, this pandemic has caused a very, very serious drop in the overall occupancy for the hotels and all. Penang alone, I believe is that we are, for those who have participated and everything, we're only looking at around maybe 20 to 22% overall occupancy rate for the whole year of right up to 2020. In terms of the estimated loss of revenue, since it's the started and everything, we are looking at, of course, this is based on the whole of Malaysia. So we're talking about, currently we're looking at about 6.3 billion for the industry. So so that's why I say it has hit pretty hard on the hotels, especially on this industry,
6.3 billion is for the entire year or up until now?
It's estimated for the entire year. But again, that's why I say this is based on certain hotels, the participation about only a few hundred hotels. I believe that if everybody would have participated, this figure would be much higher than what it was, what we managed to get.
Now, is there any positive trend in the current CMCO for the sector?
Okay, with the CMCO, there are already a few hotels who have, of course, hotel has been given the green light to operate back. And lately, I think there's a couple of days back, for those F&B outlets and hotels, now they are also allowed to accept guests. So basically, coming back to the occupancy, I would say that it's still very low. What I understand, I didn't manage to talk to many, but the hotels that I spoke to who have managed to get guests are basically their guests are all involved in the essential services. It means so those people who are involved in the medical industry, those people who are supporting certain manufacturing services. So those are the urgency for them to travel up to Penang, for example, to carry out their work. So these are the current guests at the moment. Leisure is totally at this moment out of the picture. As you know, overseas people, we have also the cancellation of international flights and everything. So, yeah, and people are still, I think a lot of people are still scared to travel. That's it. Yeah.
Even interstate. Now they're talking about interstate tourism, right? Do you think it's possible to help revive?
Yeah, this is the only thing that we have to rely on. I think if we will look at what happened the last time on Mars and everything, and sorry, not SARS. During the time SARS and everything, when I still remember, I was in E&O Hotel, and that's it. When we started to recover the part, the only thing that we could manage to get was the local domestic tourism. So here again, of course, currently Malaysia has been one of the countries that has done pretty well around Asia. And from what I can see, also some of them have given praises to Malaysia for doing well among the countries in the world in controlling this. Our numbers are looking good. I hope this is all correct, and this is good and genuine. The numbers and all. So like Penang, of course, our emphasis is about when we have the green zone, we must make sure that we keep this status. We must make sure that all of us still take precaution, take the right thing, do the right thing, and not simply. And then we also, whoever comes into Penang, I emphasize to the government that they must have the tracking thing. I think there's some tracking. I think they have already sort of put it in place already. So we must track the outsiders just in case that this virus is back here again. Brought in back by somebody unknowingly lah, in that sense. So yeah. I mean that's the thing lah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, speaking about the government, what are the 2 or 3 steps or the areas where you think the government should consider to revive the hospitality sector?
Okay. I mean the first and foremost, of course, the government, we have been submitting quite a long list of. First thing is of course assistance. But of course, things have a little bit slow. No thanks to, I won't get into the politics, as you know, because of the change of people, of the ministers and everything. So you have the new people coming in, and they have their own ideas, and a lot of these plans that they had from the previous, people in charge will not be carried on. Okay, so basically you're talking about the whole thing altogether. So now we are looking at, if let's say on tourism side and everything, what I can see is, of course, number one, they are all talking about what you mentioned just now, the domestic tourism. We're also talking about giving them incentives to the local people for traveling. So there was also talking about, like Penang, we did push on the thing that CM did announce that we will be going cashless. So one of the things that we asked for is, of course, maybe then give them an e-wallet, a certain amount, once they justify to spend. They can use this e-wallet to offset some of the payment in the hotels, or maybe some of the tourism attractions that they visit. Right, they can use this as a part of it. So this is with a little bit of a financial thing, so they can actually sort of activate for them to move, and to have a little bit of everybody. I think is just eager to get out from the house. That's one thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is maybe for more of the short term. For the longer term, I believe that we should, of course, start talking to the airlines, right? Because sooner or later they'll be starting to fly. So I know the airlines now work on a lot of incentives. So maybe this is a time to renegotiate, to talk to them and see what we can come up with. And of course, for Malaysia part is maybe what they can do is to relax on the airport parking fees, or maybe some of the other hidden costs that will help the airlines to decide, because there will be a lot of destination fighting. There'll be a lot of destination fighting, right? I mean, you talk about, I'm sure the other countries like our neighboring, like Thailand, Indonesia, even Singapore, whatever, will be making a lot of plans to start to attract tourists back to their place and all. So then I think that other than that is, of course, some of the incentives that was given to help this industry. I mean, I believe that it's a little bit too limited. For me, is that to help tourism, I believe that the government need to make sure that these hotels all survive. So as long as the owners or whatever is able to go through this difficult period, they survive, I'm sure they will be back. They will have a lot of plans and all. So I think they have a lot of like utilities, and you talk about or even the maybe some kind of loan to help them, some working capital loan to help them go through this particular period. But if you allow these people to fold up, then there's nothing much you can do, because people come here, they will not have anything to enjoy, or like hotel to host them, and you will have a lot of people out of jobs also.
It's quite a bleak situation for the hospitality sector, and we like to end with a message of hope. What is your own message of hope or words of encouragement to the hospitality sector in this time?
Well, like anything else, of course, we are going through this, like you say, bleak time, but I believe that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So it's a matter of time. I am sure the whole world is all working towards, looking at to find the vaccine or whatever. I'm sure maybe they have already come out with a few things, but to introduce it to the humans is that I'm sure they have to go through a lot of tests, and and it will take a lot of time. But other than that, like I said, I will also believe that in every crisis there will be opportunities. So it's up to the entrepreneur or the owners of that, how to reflect on this time, this difficult time, and maybe to re-strategize on their business
Mm,
to see what they can do, in the future and all. But I think it's for hotel itself, for this moment, it actually could be an opportunity for the owners to maybe look into the upgrading of the property, because some of the properties, as you say, they were doing, maybe for the past maybe 10 years or so, hotels were doing pretty well.
mm,
Uh, they could not afford to do, they didn't bother to, a lot of owners didn't just bother to upgrade their hotels. And some of them have grown very tired.
mm,
So if you were to expect the new tourists to come in and all, maybe it's time for them to, if they have the financial, of course, capabilities, the resources and all, to upgrade and to welcome back maybe some higher end kind of tourists for even Penang itself and also Malaysia. Um, I was also that it's a good time for the hotels to also review the rates,
mm,
and because Malaysia is one of them that have the lowest hotel rates in the whole region. So again, I think this is a very good opportunity for all, but we must get all of them to sort of agree and cooperate to work towards it. So from here, it's like you are starting anew, you know, you're starting anew. So this is a time for them to look into that particular opportunity.
mm,
Last but not least is, of course, I there will be a good time for the owners and everything to also start to look into technology. For me, I think emphasized a lot of time, and I believe a lot of people has mentioned this. Technology is the way to go.
mm,
As you can see, the advancement on AI and all the sort of things and all, there are a lot of new technological products that can help you to make your services more efficient and things like that. So yeah, I mean, this is time for them to look at it and to say, and to help train their people, to train their employees to be more, how we say, tech savvy or whatever, and to face the new modern times. If they do not do this, then the employees will be redundant, and so will be the organization.
mm,
So if they can all do this, I definitely believe that in the near future and also the coming times will be definitely will be back. It will be back. So I hope everybody will be ready for the good times.
mm.
That's it.
All right. Thank you so much for spending time and share your insight and your observation.